Hey, Crazy Will here today. Today we're going to be talking about how to make COVID-19 sneeze guards for your cash register counter or office counter. Stay tuned, I'm going to show you how I made them. Hey, Crazy Will from Crazy Will's Tech Show. Today, we're going to be making a sneeze guard / cough guard for your office or reception area, or in our case, it's going to be for where we have our cash registers. Right now, it's got a coating on it. That's why it's not see-through, because it's got to be delivered, and I don't want to scratch it up. So I'm leaving the film that comes on this, which if you're going to cut it and you're going to be building it, leave the film on your plexiglass while you're building it, and then when you get to the location, then you strip it off. So that's why it looks a little cloudy. You can see how it looks, the size, what it would look like on the counter, how you could still put your hand underneath here. So that's what I'm planning on building today for our cash registers at our little consignment shops, just to give us some added protection, because I know soon we're gonna be reopening, people. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get out of the house. It's gonna happen. So yeah, I had to build some of these for our consignment shop. I have 2 registers. I built one. Everything's kind of black themed there, so I spray painted these black. These are actually pretty inexpensive. The plexiglass is probably gonna be your most expensive part. I got a 6-foot by 3-foot piece of plexiglass to make 2 of these. This project is gonna be 3 by 3, and I'm gonna share you my measurements, but you can adjust this to what you need as far as what you can find as far as plexiglass. But if you're looking for a decent sized one, you could do it this size, or you could do it the full 6 feet, because it's like $90 for one piece of this plexiglass. We opted to go with 3-foot by 3-foot sections. I think it's gonna work for our needs. Things you're gonna need for this project. First, a 1 by 2 by 8 feet. You're gonna need 2 of these to make the frame of the cough protector or sneeze guard or whatever you wanna call it. So you're gonna need 2 of those. They're gonna cost you probably about $3 a piece, and that will build the whole entire frame. You're gonna need a piece of plexiglass. Now, I went with the 3 by 3, but you could do any size you want. I'm going with this. I think it's enough protection from a cough or a sneeze when you're behind a counter. So that's what I went with right there. You need 2 types of screws for this project. You need 3-inch screws, 1 1 1/4. So 2 different types of screws. You figure that'll cost you $6-7 for the both sets of screws around there. Tools you're gonna need: either a handsaw or a chop saw. I have a chop saw I'm gonna be using in this project. If you only got a handsaw, as long as you got a square, you can square it out and then just cut them yourself. A drill, which I got 2 of them. A set of drill bits would be really helpful if you have them around. And that's about it. And now, total of this build for me, this is counting the spray paint, it's around $60 for me to build this myself. And if you look online, they're going for quite a bit of money. You're looking at anywhere from $100 on up for some of these cough guards, sneeze guards, or whatever the heck they're calling them online. So I just thought with this epidemic that I'd do my part. It's not tech. I just wanted to show you how to put this together. So let's go ahead and do that. Special thanks to my mother-in-law for making these, not only for me and my wife, but also for the fire department here, and also for my family up in New York. She sent them to New York for my family members that are pretty much in the heart of the beast. Don't worry, they're all doing okay. Another tool I forgot to mention is a tape measure. Make sure you get yourself a tape measure. You can get a special one like this because, you know, I suck at reading a ruler apparently, and this works out great. First thing we're gonna be doing is making the feet of the sneeze guard. It's 3.5 feet, which is actually 42 inches. So we're gonna go 42 inches from the end here. The hell's my pencil? Why do I never know where my freaking pencil is? See, another tool you might need. I don't know if that's considered a tool or not, but you're gonna need that. So 42 inches, we'll mark that there. I'm just gonna keep adding tools onto this video. I'm gonna add a square here. So we'll just mark that line there, and now we're gonna cut it. And when you're doing your cuts, you wanna keep the measurements correct. Basically what we wanna do is, because this is the part that's 42 inches, we wanna put the blade on the other side of the line, so that way it stays 42 inches and then the blade cut. You figure the blade's about 1/8 of an inch, and you're gonna be either adding or subtracting that. So don't cut right down the middle, you wanna place it just on the other side of your mark. And there you go. All right, so we got one of these now at 42 inches. This is where it's gonna go. That's gonna be the frame for the actual sneeze guard. So now we're just gonna make one more of these. All right, I got both of my legs. Now you might be wondering, because I said it's 3 by 3, why I added another 1/2 foot. Well, I'm actually adding more than 1/2 foot, but I'm making this little gap so you could still take money or put the credit card machine through or hand receipts, stuff like that. So we got the 2 pieces ready to go. Now we have to do the inner piece, which the measurement is gonna be, make it real easy for you non-carpenters out there. If you put 2 of these side by side and you measure 3 feet like so, and it's gonna take that much off of it. If you measure it, it's actually 3. So now we're gonna cut 2 more pieces for the bottom rail and the top rail. And they're gonna be 33 inches a piece. Once you put the 2 sides on, it'll be a 3x3 piece. Well, not exactly because you'll have the bottom, but it'll fit your plexiglass. So we're gonna mark our board at 33 inches. Square it up, 33 inches. That's where we want it. I always measure twice. And I like to put a little arrow just to mark where the edge is. So that way I want to cut on the other side of that arrow. So that's what we're going to go for. We're going to cut on the other side of that arrow so that way it's exactly 33 inches because we want this to be exactly 3 feet. See what I mean? Blade hit right here. That's what we want. Arrow going away. If you remeasure this, 33 inches exactly, and that's what we want. Now we're gonna make another one. All right, so now we have our top and bottom. They were 33 inches. Got your top and your bottom. There you go. So that's done. Now let's go make the feet. All right, so this is what we're left with. We're left with 30 inches. You could get away with 15 and 15 for the feet, and you could save some money on the wood. I don't want to do that. I actually want to do 18 inches because I know my countertops are 20 inches. I measured them before I did this. So I want to do 18 inches just to have a little bit more stability. You could ultimately get away with actually 15 inches. I have the wood, so I'm going to go ahead and just do 18 inches just to give it a little bit more stability, I feel, as I knock over my tape measure. I'm gonna go 18 inches right here. I'm gonna put the little mark to let you know that this side is where we want to cut because we want to keep it 18 inches. There you go. Again, follow where your arrow is. Blade's gonna be on the other side of that. And now we'll do another one. Now we have both feet. So we got the feet all ready to go. So now it's time for assembly. So this is what your stack of wood should look like now. 6 pieces of wood to make this. So this is gonna be fairly simple. We're gonna spread it out on the floor. So here we are with the frame, we're laying it out. We're gonna have to drill some pilot holes. What you wanna do is find a drill bit that is just the width of the actual screw in the inside, not on the outside. So that's what we're looking for. And we're just gonna make some pilot holes so that way we won't have splitting. Before we do that, let's measure where this one needs to be. Again, it's 3 feet, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so we're gonna measure from the top to right to the bottom, and we're gonna go 3 feet. I'm gonna put a mark right there. I'm gonna put it on the inside here. Go to the other side, 3 feet. And just eyeball this. We'll try to get it right up against the edge there. We want to do that right there. So that's the mark where it'll be 3 feet because that's where we're going to fit the plexiglass. Another thing I like to do, because I like to remeasure and measure everything over again, we'll go from this edge to this edge and it measures 3 feet. Exactly. So we'll go from this edge to this edge, 3 feet. So we got that correctly. And another thing you can do, piece of plexiglass right over it. Make sure it fits right. It's not perfect, but it'll do in a pinch. Roughly, that's our sneeze guard. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and drill pilot holes. We only need 1 screw per side, which is all we're gonna do. So we're gonna start right here. Now we're gonna move the board, and you'll see there's a little dimple in there. We're gonna just drill that in. And that'll give it room so it doesn't splinter. Now I'll take one of the 3-inch screws. Line it up into that hole. I want to make sure it's nice and flat against this surface and bring it home. All right, so now we're on the other side. We're from the top and now we're at the bottom of the one side. And we have our little mark and we have it flush with the bottom of this board. Again, look for the mark, go for that mark. Three-inch screw, place it in the hole. Bring it out a little bit, line it up with the hole. Drive it home. Now we'll do the same to the other side. Now this one's fighting me a little bit on this side. You just gotta adjust it to where it needs to be. Boards might be warped a little bit, so you wanna make sure you're pushing up and down because you want this to be flat. So when we put our plexiglass on there, it'll fit nicely. And that's it, the frame is done. All right, so now we're gonna add the feet. I have this upside down. And before we can get started, we have to figure out, if you did 15, it'd be 7.5 inches. This one's 18, so it's gonna be about 9 inches for the middle. So I grabbed one of the legs, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and figure out what the middle is, because half of 18 is 9. Hey, look at that, I know how to do math. So we'll put a little line there. Take your square, we're gonna make a line going across the back here, and then we're gonna go down to the side of this too, so we can see it from both sides. Now, I'm not doing an exact science with this, I'm just lining it up and figuring out where the middle is gonna be, and we're gonna try and put it in the middle. This doesn't have to be perfect, this is just, I eyeball it and I figure out where I want it, and we're only putting one screw in it, so we're gonna be able to turn this whichever way we want, that way we could adjust it. Let's go for the middle, move that out of the way, again, drill it out. Take another 3-inch screw, put it right in the middle of that original screw. Now what you want to try and do, since we got a little border here, I'm going to put it off to the side like this. We're going to hold it right on here, and we're going to drill through a little bit. You see how a little bit's sticking out there? That's what we want, and that way we can line it up with this hole right here. And now just send it home. Alright, so now we got one foot on, and now we're going to repeat it to the other side. Alright, so there you go. That's the finished frame with the legs ready to go. The only thing now, what I'm going to do is take 80 grit sandpaper and I sand it down. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Pretty basic stuff, so I'm not really going to show you that stuff. Okay, so I sanded it. First I used cans of spray paint, old spray paint that was black. I used that to make the original. And now I have some enamel paint that I had laying up. It's some old stuff that was up in the rafters there. So I'm going to use that and paint this black. I just need them to be black, and I'm trying not to go to the stores. I'm going to do a quick time lapse. So how to cut plexiglass. Normally to cut plexiglass you'd use an X-Acto blade or use one of those special blades that are supposedly designed to cut through that. Normally I do it with an X-Acto blade, I cut it and then I put it on the edge of a table, clamp it and pop it. This is a 6 foot by 3 foot piece, just wasn't gonna happen. So instead I called my father, which is a master carpenter, and he told me if you're gonna cut plexiglass, use a handsaw if you can't use a table saw. That's what he said, reverse the blade, and what you're gonna be actually doing is melting the plastic. Now please make sure that it's not plugged in when you're doing this. Unscrew it, open up the guard, take it out, and just flip it around. And just stick it in right like that. I'll show you what I did earlier of me actually cutting this. Alright, so here we are the next day. This is dry. We're gonna lay it down on the table. And like I said, you don't need to paint them, but I just wanted to make it look good for the shop. Now we're going to take the piece of plexiglass. I'm going to put the side that I cut at the top because it has a little bit of shards. You can take a file and file it down. It's going to be really high. No one's really going to be putting their hand up there. So I'm just going to put this towards the top. Alright, so when you position it, you want to try and get it even. It's not going to be perfect. So we're going to try and position it just so it's kind of overlapping on everything. And what you want to do is at the bottom here, you want to lift up on it. And it looks like I got stuff a little crooked, which is not a big deal. Not perfect. Kills me a little inside, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so I think I know why it's not coming up right. I'm gonna try and see if I can correct it. It's not square, even though all the measurements are right. So I'm going with 1.25 inch screws, and then I'm doing a bit, you just want it bigger than the threads of the actual screw, so it won't hit into your plexiglass. We're just going through the plexiglass. We're gonna stop as soon as we hit the wood. So I'm gonna start at this corner here and see if I can correct my mistake. Right about there. As soon as you hit wood, stop, and we're gonna go for this one over here. Now we're just going to plant some screws right there, send it home. Don't want to go too hard on that. You just want the screw, how I have it right there, just pressing up against it. We don't want to go too hard. Perfect. Alright, so what we're going to do on this side is I'm going to try and use the plexiglass, kind of push over a little bit and straighten this out. It might be a bad idea, but try it. And it looks like that's kind of working. I'm going to use a clamp. I want to make it right. You could just drill 2 holes there and just put it in like that. I just need to do this. Don't mind me. Alright, so it's not perfect. We know this is square. this plexiglass, and the frame when you're making it's not gonna be square. You gotta kind of fiddle with it. I'm just using the plexiglass kind of straight. I'm gonna drill a hole here and a hole here. Alright, so there you have it. It's done. Alright, now I'm going to bring them up to the shop. I'm going to load them up in the car and show you what they look like in the shop. So I think this is gonna work out quite nicely. We mainly deal with the customers like this, and now they can still put their consignment over here. I can still get it, and I can still run the register from back here. So I think it's a pretty good solution. So I think that's gonna work out. Figured I'd just show you how I built them. Like I said, I'm not a professional carpenter. I just was building them for our shop. That's it for me, guys. Please like, subscribe, and ring that bell if this helped you in any way. Helps me out tremendously. And remember, you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Later, guys!
Where you go?
Nowhere, why?
Okay, boss. Does this make your approval?
It meets my approval.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it? Do you feel safer?
Can I keep one of these up all the time so people can't get in my face?
This isn't a Marvel movie, guys. There's no secret ending, no strategy or something. Just hit like and subscribe and maybe click on one of the videos above. Don't know what to tell you.